In physics, the total number of marks is allotted. Theory as well as practical paper together to each student is said to be 100 marks. Each and every subject is allotted with certain code, and that code for our subject, that is physics subject, is 33. 33 will be the subject code of physics. 30 marks is divided as performing the experiment consists of 20 marks. So majority of the marks goes for this performing the experiment. Hello everyone, I'm Vrinda, Faculty of Physics from Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, the Temple of Excellence. So in today's class, let us see the introductory part. So what is this introductory part? Introduction to the syllabus. So the subject is physics. So let us see here what is the blueprint of the second PUC syllabus as well as the practical sessions, how is the question paper set and how to go on with the subject this year. So let us begin with the session. First of all, we will have to think hard and draw a conclusion. So what is it exactly? So now we are thinking about the subject physics. So what is there in your mind? The subject physics, and under physics, what are the things we have to do? First of all, we need to know the blueprint of the syllabus, how exactly the marks is allotted and how exactly the question paper is set, and for what marks the question paper is set, that is how many marks, after which how many number of hours is allotted for us to write the examination. So these are all things what you have to look for. After which the components of the question paper. How is the question paper set? Okay. Later on in the further slides, I'll just explain like how is the question paper set and what are the marks allotted for each parts. Then after which execution, which is one of the most important concept, and in order to execute you will have to have the blueprint of the syllabus as well as the components of the question paper. So going on to the marks pattern, marks allotted by the Pre-University Board Government of Karnataka is given by 105 marks. So the question paper is set for 105 marks. It is not the total marks you are writing. It is the paper for which it is set. That is 105 marks is the total number of marks in the theory paper, out of which we have to write only 70 marks. We have to write for 70 marks. Okay. And 35 marks is like it is optional. So marks 35 marks is said to be optional. So it is a total of 105 marks. It is split into two halves, 70 marks as well as 35 marks. So 70 marks is the one where we have to write for in the theory paper, and 35 marks is said to be optional. So after which we are having the total number of marks from that subject, and that subject is nothing but physics. In physics, the total number of marks is allotted. Theory as well as practical paper together to each student is said to be 100 marks. So you have to aim for 100 marks. So in 100 marks, it is like divided into two types, two set of marks, that is 70 marks and 30 marks. 70 marks is from the theory paper of 105 marks. The question paper will be set for 105 marks only in theory paper, and then out of which you have to pick only for 70 marks, and 35 marks is optional for you. That is only in set of theory paper as we had discussed in the previous slide. So in this slide, it is 100 marks. The total number of marks allotted for the subject is 100, out of which 70 is theory and 30 is practicals. So here 70 marks is the marks to be answered, and 30 marks is from the practical examination. So you will get to know how it is divided as 70 in each of the paper. Like let us go through the components of the question paper in theory paper as well as in the practical paper, how it is divided into 70 and 30. Okay. So now you have to have the duration, correct? So in order to have the duration, how much of duration is given to the theory paper? It is 3 hours 15 minutes is the timings. What do you get in that 3 hours 15 minutes? 3 hours is the time for you to write the paper. So then what about 15 minutes? 15 minutes is only for you to read the question paper, look at your capacity, look at your capability. So you can just read the question paper and understand which of the questions are easier and which of the questions is of your potential, and you can just gather it up and begin with those set of questions. So you can even understand which are the questions that you know and which are the questions that you're missing and which are the questions you have forgotten, and all those things you can just analyze in these 15 minutes. After this 15 minutes, they'll give you the set of paper wherein you'll start writing for 3 hours. So your writing hours is only 3 hours, your analyzing hours is 15 minutes. So that is all about your 70 marks. And now coming to the 30 marks. In 30 marks, it is that you're giving a practical examination, and this practical examination duration will be for 2 hours, wherein each individual will be standing right in front of each experiment and individually you will have to perform the experiment. So now moving on to the blueprint of the syllabus, that is the chapters which are there in your textbook. You have to refer the 2 textbooks, that is NCERT textbooks. There are 2 parts in this, that is part 1 as well as part 2. There are 2 parts of NCERT textbooks which contains the chapters, and these are the chapters which are present over there. So which are these chapters? That is, this first textbook consists 1 to 8 and the second textbook consists 9 to 14. Okay, so this is the 2 parts which is divided from these chapters. So here the first chapter is said to be electric charges and fields. So this set of chapters, that is electric charges and fields, the marks allotted for this chapter is 9 marks. Okay. Next will be electrostatic potential and capacitance. The marks allotted for this is 8 marks. Okay. Next, the third chapter is current electricity, which is called in brackets as master chapter. Why master chapter? Because the weightage of this chapter is more than that of any other chapters. That is, it is 13 marks. The weightage of this chapter is 13 marks. So next, going on to moving charges and magnetism, the marks allotment is 9. Magnetism and matter, the marks which is allotted will be 7. Electromagnetic induction, marks allotted is 6 marks. Alternating current, which is known as key to centum, that is, from alternating current you will be getting 1 mark questions. So when that is the case, if you don't study alternating current in a proper manner, then you will never get a centum. So if you have to get a centum, you have to be thorough with this alternating current. If suppose you're not thorough or you have not studied this chapter, then you may get in 90s but not centum. Clear? So each and every, that is 1 mark questions is carried from this chapter, that is alternating current. So this and current electricity is a master chapter. So these 2 are the very main important chapters. The passing marks, those people who feel that physics is not their cup of tea, those people can refer for current electricity chapter, which contains 13 marks on the whole and 21 marks is a passing mark for each and every student. So those who feel that they can't attempt for it or they might fail or something, they can use just current electricity chapter, get thorough with that, and rest of the easier chapters you can pick it up and score above 21 marks. Okay, so next, after this alternating currents, we will have electromagnetic waves. It is very small chapter and very interesting also. So it's very easy for you to study, where you will get 2 marks. Getting 1 mark is also, if you find it difficult, easily you can score 2 marks from this chapter, that is electromagnetic waves. After which we have ray optics and optical instruments, which is from the second textbook. So from 9th chapter onwards, it's all about the second textbook where exactly it arises, that is ray optics and optical instruments. So which is having a weightage of 8 marks. After which we have got wave optics, and wave optics marks allotted will be 10 marks for the wave optics. Next, it is dual nature of radiation and matter, where we study the double nature of radiation as well as matter. So for that you have got the marks allotment as 5 marks. Later you have atoms, and atoms marks allotted is 6 marks, which is known as, it is very easy and the understanding chapter for any of the students. So you can just focus on this chapter as well, that is atoms. And you have got nuclei, which is 6 marks. Later you have semiconductors, electronics, and semiconductor electronics is all about 8 marks. And later the total, on totaling the marks which is allotted, you have got the marks total as 105. So the theory paper is set for 105. Theory paper is set for 105 marks, out of which you can divide it as you have to write for 70 marks and 35 marks. You can discard it because it's optional. It's very easy, out of 105 you're writing only for 70 marks, out of which 35 is your optional. It's very easy to score centum. So you can never feel that physics is a tough subject. When you just pick up the basic, and if your basic is very strong, if you have a strong foundation, you can just construct a big building. Okay, so next is your question paper analysis. And question paper analysis means it's a theory paper where we are studying. So the theory paper, you have a common and general instruction. First of all, physics subject has got certain code. Each and every subject is allotted with certain code, and that code for our subject, that is physics subject, is 33. 33 will be the subject code of physics. So at the beginning of the question paper, we have got general instruction. Most of you don't read it. So what are those general instructions? Let us see. So it is like, all parts are compulsory. There are 4 parts, part A, part B, part C, part D. So here all 4 parts are compulsory. Okay. Secondly, answer without a relevant diagram. If you are answering without any relevant diagram or figures or circuits wherever there is necessary, will not carry any marks. Okay, not even a single mark. Clear? So that will be your second instruction. Third instruction is direct answers to the numerical problem without even applying formula or without even solving. Just writing the direct answer will not carry any marks. Okay, so those are the 3 instructions for this subject. And going on to the question paper analysis, we have got 4 parts. Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. Let us see what does this part A consist of. Part A consists of all the following questions, that is, you have to answer all the following questions here, out of which each question carries 1 mark. There are 10 questions over here. There is no option for part A. Part A is said to be optionless, okay? But in the case of 2021-22 year, that is academic year, the exam conducted that had got a blueprint wherein the questions were extra. Even your part A also had extra questions, like it had got 15 questions, out of which you have to write only 10. So there was options, too many options, and the total marks set this time was, it was 140 marks. In 21-22 academic year, the question paper was set for 140 marks, out of which you had to write only 70. So 70 marks for extra, that is optional. But every time we go with 105 theory paper itself, okay? On continuing this, Part A, there is no option because this is set for only 105 marks. So under which we have answer all the following questions, and all questions are compulsory. Remember, all questions are compulsory. So I told you, study alternating current chapter, which is key to centum. Okay. So each question carries 1 mark. So 10 into 1, you have got 10. Part B is the second Roman number. For second Roman number, you have answer any 5 of the following questions out of 8 questions. So out of 8 questions, you have to answer only 5. So it is 5 by 8. Okay. So each question carries 2 marks and 5 twos are, it is 10. So you have got 10 marks from the first unit, 10 marks from the second unit, that is part B. Now let us move to part C, which is known as third unit. Third Roman number, you have answer any 5 of the following questions. Again, answering 5 out of 8 questions, and each question here carries 3 marks. So you are writing 5 marks, each carrying 3 marks. 5 into 3, it is 15. So for here, you have got the total of 35. So this is the 35 marks you have got for part A, part B, part C in total. Rest we are left with 35. 35 marks is from part D all alone. So part D consists of again 3 Roman numbers, that is 3 subunits, Roman number 4, 5 as well as 6. So from 4, you have to remember, students, any 2 of the following questions you are supposed to write. Okay, from the first, that is from the first Roman number of part D, that is the 4th Roman number. Clear? So any 2 out of 3. Okay, so again here any 2 of the following out of 3. The same thing applies to the 5th Roman number as well. Okay, so now the thing is like both are like same to same. Write any 2 out of 3 which carries 5 marks. Again write any 2 out of 3 which carries 5 marks. Both look similar to you. So 2 into 5 is 10, 2 into 5 is 10. So from both the numbers you are getting 10 marks. So why is that? Remember that this is from the first NCERT textbook, NCERT, that is part 1. Second PUC, NCERT part 1 textbook has got the questions which comes under 4th Roman number. Again, second PUC, NCERT textbook part 2 has got certain questions, important questions, which comes under 5th Roman number. So this is mainly allotted for the part 1 and this is allotted for part 2 of the NCERT textbook. So this is how it is divided. Now coming to the last Roman number, which is called as numerical main. It is numerical based main. Numerical means the problem, that is the sums whatever you get based on certain chapters. So you will have to write only 3 out of 5. So 2 are optionals for you. So 3 questions out of 5 you have to attempt and each question carries 5 marks. So it is 3 5s are 15. So here also you have got your 35 marks in total. So that is all about your question paper analysis. So in order to follow this, most of you will lose marks in the 6th main. And why is that? That is only because you don't know the basic. If your base is strong, you can very easily occur for this main, that is the 6th Roman number numerical based main. If you have got strong base, then your building of this numerical will be very easy and you will score out of out. That is, you will be a centum scorer. So that is all about your question paper analysis and this is only about the theory paper what I have talked right now. Now let us move to the practical question papers. The practical question paper in this, the practicals will be done by each individual student right in front of one single experiment and there will be viva questions and there will be marks which is allotted to the record also. So here you have second PUC practical examination and the code is 33. general instruction for you to know, that is, duration of the practical examination is 2 hours. So 2 hours is the duration for practical examination. 3 hours 15 minutes is for the theory examination. Okay. Maximum marks allotted for practical is 30 marks. 70 you're already writing it. Plus 30 makes you 100. Next is at least 10 different experiments have to be set in the practical examination, which is left to your internals. And then it is at least 3 trials have to be taken in case of finding a mean value. When you perform your experiment as you had done in your first year, you will have the average value to be found out. That is a mean value. Summing up each and everything, dividing it by total number of trials you have taken. So in order to find out that mean value, you will have to write at least 3 trials. And you need at least 6 readings for you to undergo with the graphical representation. Any of the graph if you are having, you need at least 6 of the readings. So 6 trial is must and should. Now, after this, we have the particulars. So what are these particulars? Half the 30 marks is divided. So 30 marks is divided as performing the experiment consists of 20 marks. So majority of the marks goes for this performing the experiment. So practically whatever you perform will have the maximum number of marks, and rest of the 2 marks, that is 6 plus 4, it's very easy. That is total of 10 marks is very easy for you to score. And how is that? Practical record. Please maintain your record very well. That is, maintain your record in a neat way so that you will get your 6 marks. 4 marks is for viva voce. That is the viva questions, whatever they ask you with regard to the particular subject. That is particular experiment. Okay. So if suppose you have got certain particular experiment, based on that experiment only certain questions will be asked. So you have to strong in your base. So viva marks you can very easily score 4 marks. Each question carries 1 mark. So they might ask you 4 marks. So 6 plus 4, 10 marks. This is very easy to score. Remaining is 20 marks. So 20 plus 10 gives you 30. There ends your the total practical marks. So how is this 20 branched again? In practical examination, is it only because we perform the experiment, that is why they give 20? How is the marks divided there? And that is like, you will have to know this, that writing the principle of the experiment. Your experiment will be having aim, principle, apparatus, then formula, tabular columns, diagrams and graphical representation, all these things along with the procedure and result. So these are the things which is there under your manual, inside your manual. So when that is the case, we will have to see which are the components to be written, picked up from the manual and written in the examination, and each of the components carries how many marks. So first of all, it is that writing the principle of the experiment, which carries 2 marks to it. Next is writing the formula and explaining its terms. If it is F is equal to ma, force is equal to mass into acceleration, write what is F. Simply, if you don't write F is equal to ma and place it, write what is F. F means it is force, m means it is mass, a means it is acceleration. This is how you just name the terms. Only then you will be getting 2 marks, or else you will end up having 1 mark. So when that is very easy for you to write something and get the marks easily, write that instead of having the laziness. Okay. Next is write the diagram, figure, circuit with labeling at least 2 of its parts, okay, which carries 2 marks again. Then writing the tabular column and observation part, that this is just a skeleton what I'm telling. So writing the skeleton of the tabular column, that is serial number, main headings will be there, no, writing that and leave the space for the calculation part or the writing part. Okay, so that is just a skeletal part. For that skeletal part you will have just 2 marks. Later on, constructing the experiment setup or circuit, whatever you construct in your table, no, that is called as this construction of this experiment, and which carries 3 marks, which will be checked by your externals. And then performing the experiment and entering the readings into the tabular column or observation pattern. So once you start performing the experiment, that is your construction of the circuit is done, you will start doing your experiment. When you perform the experiment, whatever readings you get, you just go and drop it in your tabular column. For that, you will have the total of 4 marks. So which is said to be maximum over here, remember. Then substitution and calculation. Substitution has to be given even 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Though you know it in your mind, you will have to put it on the paper. So that substitution and calculation, each and every substitution and calculation is must and should in your paper, and plotting the graph and calculation is also considered over here. So it is of 3 marks. Later, at last, you have result with the unit. So the result value along with that unit is must and should. If you don't write unit, then you will lose 1 mark. So it is all about 2 marks for this last result part. So when you just total it, you will have about 20 marks. So 30 marks is from your practical examination. So it is like 20 plus 10. So I hope you understood how exactly the blueprint is being taken for your practical examination. Next is execution. So now it's very easy. You got to know which subject you're studying. You even got to know what are the syllabus. You even got to know that NCERT first textbook, what are the chapters it contains, NCERT second textbook, what are the chapters it contains, and each chapter's number of teaching hours allotted and number of marks allotted is also calculated, and 105 will be your total marks, out of which you're dividing it to 70 and 35 marks, wherein 35 is your optional and 70 is just theory, plus 30 you add from practicals, it makes you 100. Correct? So 30 marks is very easy to get, that is from the practical examination. Be perfect in the practicals, whatever you do. Doubts, go to your internals, ask your teachers, they will explain you during your lab hours, that is lab practical hours, and later during examination, you'll not have any sort of doubts, okay? So 30 marks is very easy to get, plus 70 marks, out of which 21 marks is a passing mark, correct? After which, beautifully you will have to execute those things whatever you have studied on the paper. At the end of the day, that is the one which matters. So only to execute, you just bang your head by studying each and everything. So there is nothing to break your head. It is only that you have to know the skeleton of the subject. If you know the skeleton of the subject, you will have the idea like which I have to study so that I can score, which I can just leave as optional. All those logic you will easily get if you analyze the skeleton of the subject. So execute it in a nicer way, in a beautiful way, okay? Next is learning outcome. So for learning outcome, what are you supposed to do? You have to go through the concept very well. Go through each and every concept very well. Even the introductory part. It's not that you have to by heart your introductory part or something. Start from the introduction. Start from the full stop of the first textbook, end at the full stop of the same textbook at the end page. Okay. So it's like go through each and every concept. Tough concept. You will understand it better if you know more about it. Tough concept, read 100 times. If you're reading, just read and understand the concept. Once you understand the concept, you can just put up your own words for this subject also. So understand and know more. Next is take any subject which is very tough to you as a challenge and break it down. Next it is equal importance. Please give equal importance to the tougher concepts as well as the easier concept. Studying tougher concepts, you will just neglect the easier concept, wherein for that easier concept also you will not be able to write any answer, so that easily you will lose marks. So don't allow that to happen. So give equal importance to tougher concepts as well as the easier concept. Next is study method. Learn how can you study well. For few of them, once they read, they can understand better. For few of them, they have to write and study 1, 2 or 3 times, they'll understand. For few people, it's like they'll just imagine things and study, they can study easily. So drawing and studying, imagining and studying, or else holding a highlighter, using highlighter and studying, all those things work out. So check which is the better study method you can adapt for, and adapt the same studying method so that you can score centum. So later it is execute. Execution is a much important concept, and in order to have this execution, these are the main points which you have to know. Okay, so that is all about your learning outcome. And as Stephen Hawking says, however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. It matters that you just don't give up. So students, don't give up. Whatever subject it is, however difficult it is, you have opted for science, you have opted for PCM and any of the optionals. It is just that though it is tough for you, don't get disheartened. Study and understand the concept very well so that the concept stays in your mind and not the marks. The concept has to be in your head and not the marks, remember? So study, please don't by heart just for the sake of getting marks. Understand the concept and move forward. It will help you later also. And in today's class, we have gone through the introductory part of our syllabus. In our next class, let us begin with the sessions of second PUC. Until then, have a good day. Thank you.